Chapter 2.
True, no one can walk away smiling when compared to Marcus. Since childhood, my adoptive brother Marcus has been the center of attention. Handsome, excellent grades, no early dating, no rebellion. Right after finishing his master's degree, he was headhunted by a Fortune 500 company at a high salary and promoted rapidly in less than a year. My classmates all envied me for having such an outstanding, presentable brother. Parents often said, "Mia, your brother is really good to you, unlike my son who bullies his sister all the time." But only I knew that the legendary good brother who supposedly spoiled me rotten actually avoided me like the plague in private, as if I were some dirty thing he couldn't shake off. But it wasn't always this way. My mother passed away when I was 10 years old. Dad is a rough man, favoring neglect, careless about everything. The first time I met Marcus, I had just gotten into a street fight, my nose and face bruised, covered in dirt, like an unwanted wild child. Yet he wore a neat school uniform with long eyelashes, like a boy stepped out of a manga. Dad and Auntie were busy flirting. Only he noticed me, taking a warm towel, gently wiping me clean, his voice cool and pleasant. "Baby, such a pretty face. Don't use it to catch other people's punches." His movements were tender, but my cheeks burned hot, my heart racing so fast I couldn't breathe. The feeling of being treated with such careful tenderness becomes addictive. Over time, I've grown accustomed to desperately seeking all the missing affection from Marcus. In junior high, other people's brothers were still fighting their sisters over snacks and the remote control. But Marcus had just bought a bicycle and took the initiative to pick me up and drop me off from school, rain or shine. He'd let me wrap my arms around his waist, press my face against his back, listening to me chatter on about boring school gossip. When I turned 15, he'd secretly save money and buy me a signed album of my favorite artist, hiding it from our parents. In senior year, this usually refined and calm man, completely untouched by violence, privately arranged a fight with the delinquents who gave me love letters. Turns out good boys fight like they have a death wish. That was the first time I saw Marcus lose control. And the last time. After that day, he changed the lock on his bedroom, bought a large roll of Buddhist scriptures, and spent his free time copying them. He also stopped calling me baby. I've always felt that falling in love with Marcus was inevitable. When you meet someone too dazzling in youth, you spend the rest of your life unable to find peace. I settled my thoughts and had just taken out my test paper when there was a knock on the door outside. One knock, then a pause, then two more knocks. It was Marcus. I opened the door, and he was already fully dressed, a well-tailored suit, a dark red tie, shoes so clean they reflected light. He's always so coldly composed, proper and emotionless, perfect like a mannequin. It makes people want to mess him up, crush him, strip away this cold, abstinent facade. I need to go back to the office, so I grabbed his tie and forcefully pulled him into the room, quickly shutting the door. We hadn't seen each other for 2 whole months. Who wanted to hear his goodbye? Marcus looked at the wrinkled shirt and tie-eyed messed up, somewhat helpless. "Mia, I was wrong. You're just a kid who doesn't know better. I shouldn't have given you the silent treatment. I've already removed you from the blacklist. From now on, if you need anything at school, just ask your brother, Mia." The man suddenly changed his tone, grabbing my restless hand. Click, the sound of a metal belt buckle being undone. Every belt Marcus has worn since adulthood was a gift from me. No one knows better than I do how to quickly undo them. Marcus, I'm not a kid anymore. Marcus, you'll be late for work. Let's talk to your sister some other day. Marcus's mother's voice came from outside the door. Marcus instinctively covered my mouth, stopping the rest of my words. Only a wall separating us. The son she took such pride in was pressed against the stepdaughter she'd never liked, disheveled, their breathing intertwined. I tried to see some emotion on Marcus's face, anger, embarrassment, anything. But he simply pushed me away coldly, methodically straightened his clothes, and walked out. Just like that noon when our parents were away, he lay asleep on the sofa still in his suit. Sunlight fell on his pale, beautiful side face. I slowly put down my backpack, cautiously leaned in, and lowering my head with reckless abandon, not yet touching that soft pale pink, I met a pair of cool eyes. Marcus's expression then was identical to today. He said, "Mia, I'm your brother." The door opened and closed, leaving me alone, face flushed, staring at my test paper covered in X marks. When I was a freshman, Marcus was in his third year of graduate school. No one knew how much effort I put in just to be schoolmates with him for a year. But T University never belonged to someone like me who only loved eating, drinking, and playing. Even if I forced myself in, it would only add to the pain. Incompatible people are the same. Never mind. Marcus, I'm letting you go.